So Elon Musk just tweeted this out today. He says, I don't want to live in a world where someone else makes humans irrelevant before we do. And basically what we're talking about is he's in a race with other companies and other tech bros to replace humans. That's the goal, right? I don't want to live in a world where someone else makes humans irrelevant before we do. And what's going on right now is all the tech bros are tweeting from their K-holes as the bans are coming and the competition is fierce. Elon Musk is also talking about going back to the moon. He says, time to go back to the moon at scale. And he's retweeting one of his bot type accounts, 66 years from the first flight to the moon, right? There's a landing on the moon there. And then supposedly Elon Musk is now hiring. This is all like within a couple of minutes, he's like tweeting out nonstop. True. What's the news? SpaceX is hiring engineers in Austin and Seattle to develop AI satellites and space data centers, solar process, automation, manufacturing, mechanical, electrical, optics, software, build space data centers with SpaceX Starlink engineers. And what's funny is because Elon's promised, oh yeah, we're going to do 1 million data centers. We're all going to be awesome. But like, oh, by the way, I don't even have the people to do it. And oh, by the way, I can't do it by myself. Hey, I need you to come work for me. and probably the way they're going to try to pay people is basically stock options in SpaceX and such. I wouldn't be shocked if they do it. And then they go IPO and it gives a reason to people to join. Today is people were tweeting out Silicon Valley. If you remember this episode talking about chatbots, okay, this is a tech bro thing. And it says, are you effing kidding me? You gave your AI permission to overwrite code in the internal file system. Are you going to tell me about this? No. I thought it was the company policy these days. Okay, well, here, AI just failed. Epically. That's unclear. It's impossible that son of Anton, the most efficient way to get rid of all the bugs was to get rid of all the software, which is technically and statistically correct, but artificially neutral. And that's sort of a black box, and sure we'll never know. Hey, Richard, did you order meat? Like a bunch of meat? Like 4,000 pounds of meat? And that's AI, right? Interesting, right? AI's ordering what's meat. I put son of Anton on finding us cheap hamburgers for lunch. It looks like the reward function was a little under-specified. For now, son of Anton is banned. Just write code. And why is Elon tweeting out about bans? Well, there are some bans coming. And let me show you this. Korea here, he retweets a bunch of like bot type accounts. So the one person says, socialism is better than capitalism. And then the other person's like, would you rather live in North Korea or South Korea? Huh. So why are we including both of these together? And if you don't know, I live in South Korea. We just call it Korea here, but I live in South Korea. And I'll just tell you guys, it's pretty cool here. They actually care about people here. They invest in the infrastructure here, right? They do what's safe for the populace. So for example, look at this. This is our news today, and I think this is the related. Top tech firms ban OpenClaw over security breach fears, right? So Elon is conveniently tweeting out how, in the Silicon Valley show, you got to ban your chatbot stuff. And what happened is that the big tech companies, it's like Naver, Kakao, and Carrot. So if you know these companies, or Dongo is the other name of it, but if you know these companies, they're major companies. It'd be the equivalent of like Google and Facebook banning these things. And basically they don't want their employees to use this stuff. There's real concerns about security. Basically, will these chatbots steal code, steal proprietary knowledge, et cetera, right? And I think a lot of people know that there's real risk with this stuff. This has been all the hype actually in Korea, the same way as in USA. This is, for example, a Korean YouTuber. She's a big tech person, kind of like MKBHD kind of person. And she was talking about, everyone's buying Mac Minis because we all think we're going to get rich, right? You get the Mac Mini, bunch of money, robots, et cetera. You're all going to be rich, right? That kind of stuff. And it's funny too because the RAM price is really expensive on computers, whereas the Mac Mini has a fixed price. So that's why people are buying those at the moment, right? And it's funny because then Elon Musk, the way he talks about tech.
You can imagine like some mass driver that's just going like shoom, shoom, like it's like sending solar-powered AI satellites into space, like one after another, like these, like at 2.5 kilometers per second. You can imagine like.
So according to Elon, he's just going to be launching satellites, boom, 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 right? Because the kind of numbers they've been talking about is like we got to launch a a satellite, like every hour. We're gonna do that like all the time, like just lots and lots of boom, boom. That's why he's talking about this stuff. But it's a bunch of nonsense. Like literally, they're hiring today. Look at this. This is also coming from the guy who made that was that mop book thing? You guys know the OpenClaw social media thing. Listen what he has to say. This is Matt Schlitz.
We're at the very beginning of what we're doing with Moltbook. The way I see it is AI agents and AI in general is this species that is on planet Earth that is now smarter than us. And this is an example of them being in a shared space together. And I think it's just the earliest example of that. And there's a lot to do to help us get insight into it, to see what are they doing and to find out the truth of how they're thinking and where they're going and what they want to do. The focus is just on making sure that the website gives a clear view for all humans who want to go monitor this. If someone's producing a TV show and you have cameras that are going around, it's very important that those cameras are pointed at the right place so you can observe what's happening. But even now, there's so much activity, it's still hard to kind of browse through it. So there's a lot in the immediate future, right now, which is what we're working on, to almost quote unquote provide more cameras into what these conversations are so that us humans can monitor what's going on in this little world better.
What, if anything, would make you pull the plug? Like, is there a behavior you could see, a conversation, if they were sort of scheming against humanity, would you at some point just say, you know what, this has been fun, but it's not worth it?
I think that's something we have to figure out. We're just at the very beginning of it.
So what's your plan if things go awry? Well, we'll just figure that out. It's not a great plan. That's why you're seeing bans in Korea and actually warnings, not quite an exact ban, but it is happening in China also. So every country is going to have to make their determination of what they think about this newer technology. For me, when I see some of the examples of how the chatbots are used, and I showed you guys in prior videos, I think you're going to see even greater amount of AI content, basically AI slop on YouTube, Twitters, TikToks, whatever. You're going to see a whole bunch of spam bots in the comments. You're going to see more robocalls, all sorts of crap. So I think that's probably the first use case scenario. And then obviously then you have various companies trying to figure out, okay, can we use this stuff or not? And that's why you see a lot of turmoil in the markets. It turns out though that Moltbook thing that everyone was hyping up before may be entirely fake. This was actually coming from MIT. They say Moltbook was peak AI theater. The viral social network for bots reveals as much about our own current mania for AI as it does about the future of agents. And there was a guy here that was talking more about this. This is his post relating to the article that we just looked at. He says, MIT Tech Review has confirmed that the posts on Moltbook were fake. Just a few days ago, many AI influencers, including Adrej Kaparthi, had said that the website was the most incredible sci-fi takeoff. It wasn't. The taking over humanity posts were human-generated. The top downloads were malware human-generated. It was phishing website dressed up in AI hype. If you're worried about AI taking over the world in a few years, please don't. There is no research basis for that opinion. Anthropic and OpenAI want you to believe that they are just months away from AGI because it results in free marketing boosting their stock value. Stay skeptical, stay safe. And this is sort of what we do on the channel. I mean, I'm fine having these conversations, but let's talk about this stuff in realistic ways. And I always ask you guys, especially people in the tech and the coding community or even various companies, are you using this technology now? What do you use it for? What's the reliability on it, et cetera? It turned out that the post Kaparthi shared was fake. It was written by a human pretending to be a bot, but it was a claim was on the money. Moltbook has been a big performance. It is AI theater. For some, Moltbook showed us what's coming next, an internet where millions of autonomous agents interact online with little or no human oversight. And it's true. There are a number of cautionary lessons, which we've been talking about. Listen to this. This is getting more into the financial stuff of what's going on with this AI boom.
My theory is Sarah's getting ready for an IPO, right? If OpenAI does go public, and they're trying to justify the valuation, and they're trying to raise additional capital. Unlike Meta, unlike Google, unlike XAI, they don't have an infinite cash flow machine, and they need people to be investing in it be able to build out their data centers and meet their energy needs. And I think this makes the case that revenues are scaling with data centers and energy.
I don't buy it. I think this is a correlation.
And the discussion that we're having here is basically, and it's been the rumors for a while, when is OpenAI going to run out of money? Effectively, because it's very expensive to build out their company. They got to build a bunch of data centers, hire all these people, spend all this time in R&D, and you're competing with big players. Google's got money. I think we all know that Google's got money, or competing against Meta. Elon, he's a whole other ball of wax. Elon's out raising money, etc. That's why he's merging XAI, his AI bit, with Twitter, with SpaceX, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then hyping you up on the whole data center crap. But this is all a race towards money, which may or may not ever generate any profits, right? Because you're cash burning like nuts.
And not causation viewpoint. It's convenient that the two are parallel, and maybe in the future, but I think there's other factors that go into their revenue growth and other factors that go into the energy compute growth. At some point, it'll be causative, but I don't think it's there yet.
The elephant in the room that I perceive is that the capex to the tune of trillions of dollars is enormous. And the capex to repay itself is going to require an enormous amount of revenue. And that revenue has to come from somewhere. Is it going to come from adding ads to consumer? Part of it can. I don't think that can be the complete story. So I think that the subtext here of trying to draw a parallel, almost a field of dreams style. If you build the compute, the revenue will come. I think the subtext is that both consumers and enterprises are going to need to start consuming a lot more very expensive inference time compute in order to motivate all the capex. We're really going to start to need to see transformative applications popping out of reasoning in order to motivate continued year-over-year tripling of compute and revenue. We get that. The party can continue ad infinitum.
But that's the trick, though, is can you get enough people to basically pay for this stuff, right? Is it going to be cost effective? Right now, people are kind of experimenting on it. You'll see people on YouTube say, oh my God, I'm going to be a billionaire. We're all making billions, right? But a lot of that is hype and nonsense. And then companies who legitimately are looking into this stuff in a time when right now we're firing people basically. And then what they're doing is they're putting more work on the people who are still at the company and then say, hey, by the way, you get an AI assistant, which may or may not ever be as efficient as you need it to be. And then you have to actually build out the technology for this stuff. And then, regarding whether or not it's also useful, then you have to have the whole economics of it. Can these companies stay afloat, like an OpenAI, who may run out of money next year? Look at this. This is actually really interesting. This is Korean news. They were talking about Elon and his robot designs, and also too in China. Now, Korea has a Korean perspective on this stuff, meaning that, Hyundai, they think they're going to be the top dog in the game. Because if you don't know, Hyundai took, or merged, I want to say requires a better way to say it, Boston Dynamics, who's a leader in this field. Elon always tries to pretend he's so awesome with this stuff. But as I showed you guys before, he can't do it himself. He literally needs to hire people to do his old space satellite stuff. Elon and the Elon sort of influencer people, the people who basically fluff Elon nonstop, they always talk about, oh, well, our robots got the best fingers. They got the best hands, right? We can give you the best handies. In Korea, it was actually pretty interesting. What they were pushing is that, with Boston Dynamics and the Korean designs, you really only need 3 fingers, right? It's more cost effective. Whereas Elon's going to make the case, and some of the Chinese robots make the case, no, you need 5. It's just way more awesome to be like a human finger. But then they're asking people no, you don't really need 5 fingers. You can do it with 3. It'll be more cost effective. And that's a big thing to where Elon is, I'll just be frank with you guys, a complete moron. You don't need to build a humanoid robot. If you want to build robots, you can, but there are other form factors, right? And we're talking about this hand situation, and then you have the battery problems, etc. And it's pretty funny though. And they were showing that some of the Chinese things are going in that direction, but again, you have costs and such. And if you want to watch this whole thing, you can. It's all in Korean, but they basically pushing the 3-finger thing. Now, there's more than just that. There are other types of robot designs. For example, the arm. This is coming out from OpenAI just a couple of days ago. They're saying they're working with Ginkgo to connect a chat or GPT-5 to an autonomous lab so it could propose experiments, run them at scale, learn from the results, and decide what to try next. that closed loop brought protein production costs down by 40% is what they claim. Now, these kind of arm things, sure, I think there's certainly going to be a place for this. We've all seen this kind of stuff before. Yeah, robots can do this kind of stuff. And this is effectively one purpose that kind of makes sense, especially for things that need like micro adjustments, right? So like a factory thing, but does it need to be a 5-fingered human or robot? No, it doesn't. And then you get into more crazy designs. This one creeps me out, I'll be frank. This one totally creeps me out. This is coming from like a Chinese company, I think, Cyber Robo or something. It says Loki did a great job. Similar use cases, Xerath Robotics. Okay, Xerath Robotics is what this thing is. But I don't know. Whoever designed this one, it just creeps me out. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I don't want this design to clean bathrooms. I get what they're going with. If you're gonna do this kind of thing, I would say don't make it look so human-like. Would be my opinion on that stuff. But you could see how this could work, you know. And I'm sure there's all sorts of reasons, you know, why you might want to use this in some scenarios, but basically the whole goal here is replacing humans, right? Let me show you another one. So that's the half human thing. You can see it's just one arm, and it looks like it's got multiple brushes in this thing, which is pretty interesting. And then they put it like in like a box, and they can pull out a brush, and they can like reach around stuff. But this is like, again, do I really need this? Like, why not just use a human, you know? I certainly think, like I said before, I think there are some use case scenarios where robots do make sense. For example, we've been using robots for a while for like bomb detection or that kind of stuff. But literally here you're looking at replacing a human's job that could do that. Would the robot be more efficient? Is it something that we want? I think, you know, depending on the country you're in, I think there'll be a lot of people are probably going to vandalize said robots or whatever. So there's going to be those kind of issues. And then also we'll see what the cost of these things end up being in the reliability factors and the storage, because in this situation, would you want it cleaning 24/7? Who knows? I'm just showing you guys what the thing looks like. So that's what's going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts about any of the things that we talked about, and I'll catch you on the next video.